If you're thinking about retiring in 10 years, 5 years, or 1 year, it can feel overwhelming. But taking the right steps can help bring confidence and some clarity as well. Let's break it down by timeline. So if you're retiring 10 years from now, approximately, big thing is you have time, and it's a great time to get organized. Figure out what you have. Look through your old statements. Find your old pension information if you happen to have it, and figure out what it's worth. This is a time when it's really helpful to start building in some different pockets tax-wise as well. So having some Roth money, some pre-tax money, and some after-tax money. So you have some choices when you retire as far as how you pull the money out. This is also a great time to start running some projections to say, okay, where am I headed? We're used to living on this much money. Are we going to have to live on this much money, or can we match what we have coming in? And that's a point where knowing how much it's going to take to save to get you close or close enough to be able to maintain that cost of living and that spending level is really important. Another thing to do at that point as well, again, being 10 years out, is, and I can't stress this enough, get on the same page with your spouse as far as where you want to head. One of you might want to work longer. One of you might want to work shorter or retire sooner. So those are important things to get on the same page on. And in order to get in that same page, having good information as far as where you're at really brings some clarity there as well. Another good conversation to start having when you're 10 years out is, where do we want to live in retirement? Do we have a house that is structured well to age in place in? Do we need to move to a ranch? Is there some renovation that we might want to think about? Really helpful conversation to have. And in addition to that, debt structure. So this is a great time to start paying off high interest debt if you have it, and getting yourself into a spot where you're able to gradually, or maybe not as gradually, if you've got high income and maybe the kids are out of the house, start to make some dents in these types of things. Now you're 5 years away from potentially retiring. At that point, it's really important, if you haven't already, to look at some full retirement projections. And if you have done it already, it's important to update those so you can see, am I on track? What changes do I need to make? This is also an important time to take a look at your investment risk levels to see if they match where they need to be if you're going to start potentially drawing in 5 years. And that's a good thing to look at when you're 10 years out as well. Another thing that is pretty common at this point, if you're 5 years from retirement, is you want to take a look at your estate documents. Look at your will, look at your power of attorney documents, and not only see who the beneficiaries are, but take a look at who's doing the different jobs, because oftentimes at this point, your kids are old enough that you might want them in those different roles as opposed to their aunt or uncle or your friend. So that's a time to take a good look at those documents as well. I would continue to look at your tax planning and potentially in building these buckets up of different slices that you can pull from, whether it be Roth, pre-tax, or after-tax accounts. You should be, as much as possible, maxing out your 401ks, putting the catch-up money on the Roth side, and building up that pocket as well. This is also a great time to start test driving your retirement budget. So again, am I here and we have to move toward here? How is it going to work for you in retirement? And getting a practical understanding of if it's doable. Another area that keeps people working maybe longer than they plan to is health insurance. If you're lucky enough to have health insurance through your employer, which some are, but most aren't, then that may solve the problem, but you want to understand what you have. Otherwise, you want to look and see what your other health insurance options are to bridge the gap between the time you retire and age 65, should you be retiring before age 65. I would take another look at housing. Where do we want to live? And you can continue that conversation. And the last thing I'll mention right now is at this point in your life, 5 years out, that's a great time to start thinking again about, what am I going to do after I retire? Start building some rhythms into your life, maybe trying that new hobby, signing up for a class in something that you're interested in, and start to build your retirement life beyond just the financial part early, so you're not making all of those decisions and trying to figure all those things out right when you retire. So now you're 1 year out from retiring. Pretty exciting. Important things to think about. Where am I going to pull money from? How am I going to get paid every month to pay my bills? So thinking through which pocket to pull from, making sure that you have enough money in the bank to take care of those unexpected expenses when maybe the water heater breaks or something like that. Getting a very firm picture of where your pension is at if you have one, and new projections for those, and locking in what you want to do there. Getting a very clear picture of your Social Security, and a strategy for that is also important. And again, at 1 year out, that's a great time to take a look at your investments and say, okay, are these structured in a way that I'll be able to start pulling from them in the near future? This is a time to take a closer look at health insurance to see what you actually have in working through that transition. And let me throw in one bonus thing. I think it's really helpful to take a look and see what happens if you work 1 more year. So instead of working 1 year, what's the benefit to working 2 years? Now you may be locked in on working 1 more year. It's helpful though to see what the impact could be of working just 1 more year on your financial situation for the next 20 or 30. Retirement isn't one giant leap. It's a series of small steps. It's okay if you don't have everything figured out, but you do need a plan. And the earlier you start, the more choices you'll have.